you finally answered." Mom's voice dripped with that familiar guilt-inducing tone. "I've been calling all day." My stomach twisted into knots. "I was working, Mom." That's a lie. I just couldn't face another conversation where my wishes didn't matter. "What are your plans for the holidays?" The scheming undertone in her voice made my heart race. "The usual family thing, I guess." "Well, we're doing something different this year." My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "I got 4 tickets for Bob Dylan. For 3 consecutive days." From the words 4 tickets, I immediately knew I wasn't included. "Am I coming too?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Well, about that, we have something important for you to do." My mouth went dry. "What exactly?" "We need someone to look after Grandma." "So you mean, while everyone enjoys the live concert, I'm supposed to stay over for 3 whole days and take care of Grandma?" "Don't be so dramatic. You're always taking care of Grandma anyway, right? Besides, it's not like you have other plans, right?" I felt rage burning through me, but somehow kept my voice steady. "Were you ever planning to actually ask me? Or did you just assume I'd agree like always?" "Of course I thought you'd say yes. You've always been our reliable girl, putting family first." "Mom, I'm a grown woman," I said, fighting to keep my voice from shaking. "I deserve to control my own time." The answer is no. The silence on the other end was deafening. "Erin, don't be so selfish. This is a special vacation for everyone." "Everyone except me?" I fired back, my knuckles turned white around the phone. "I can't believe you're ruining our plans with your selfishness." My heart pounded in my ears. "Selfish? You're the ones who made all the arrangements without even asking me, expecting me to gladly sacrifice 3 days of my life. Isn't that the definition of selfishness?" "That's enough. Your father will call you. Maybe you'll listen to him." Before she could hang up, I declared, "If you expect me to be your caregiver, don't expect me to come home at all." I couldn't tell if she even heard me. My relationship with my family has always been one-sided. During university, I sacrificed my exam studies for family events and canceled important plans with friends to watch my brother Thomas's games. This was my normal daily life. However, the situation really deteriorated after my grandmother broke her hip 2 years ago. Although the surgery was successful, she began showing symptoms of dementia during the recovery process. The doctors explained that the shock of the fracture and surgery likely caused a rapid decline in her cognitive function. My parents and my brother Thomas' family, who all lived together, completely refused to take care of Grandma. "We have jobs," they made excuses. The only one left was me, who was living in a nearby apartment. Simply because I could work remotely as a copywriter, I suddenly became Grandmother's primary caregiver. Managing medications, doctor's appointments, helping with bathing and changing clothes, everything fell on my shoulders. I commuted daily from my apartment to my family home to care for my grandmother. "Erin, you've always had a special relationship with Grandma since you were a child," my mother said. "You couldn't possibly think of putting her in a facility, could you?" It was clever emotional manipulation. Of course, I didn't want to put my grandmother in a facility. But while I took on the caregiving, my parents went on cruise vacations, and my brother and his wife went skiing every weekend. My life had completely stopped. That night, my apartment felt like a prison. My phone buzzed constantly with calls from my parents, which I sent straight to voicemail. Thomas texted, "Erin, think about what's best for the family." I laughed bitterly. In this family, what's best for the family always means sacrifice yourself for everyone else's happiness. I collapsed onto my sofa and called Kayla. She knew all too well what I dealt with. "Let me guess, they're trying to rope you into caregiving again?" she asked immediately. This time is different. I actually said no. I don't have to go along with their plans anymore. Good for you. You've always given in too easily. You deserve your own time and space. But they won't stop calling, I sighed, feeling the weight in my chest. Dad keeps trying to reach me. Don't answer, Kayla said firmly. You've made your decision, right? They're just trying to wear you down. Thanks for saying that. I'm not being unreasonable, am I? Absolutely not, Kayla insisted. You're an adult. They need to respect your decisions. After we hung up, my phone rang again. It was from Dad. This time I answered. Dad, my answer is still no, I said immediately. Aaron, Douglas' voice was measured and calm. We're just asking you to show some compassion for your family. Me? Lacking compassion? My voice cracked with emotion. You're the ones who don't respect my time or my life. Fine, we'll handle the concert arrangements separately then. But could you at least come by that morning? Grandma really wants to see you. I hesitated, feeling suspicious but relieved at this reasonable-sounding compromise. Okay, I'll come just for that morning. But please stop trying to manipulate me into caregiving. I promise. Thank you, Aaron. After hanging up, uneasiness settled in my stomach. He seemed to give in too quickly and easily. Still, I felt proud for finally setting clear boundaries. For the weeks leading up to the concert, I continued to commute to my family home every day to care for my grandmother, but they did not discuss that day with my parents or my brother and his wife. I felt relieved but couldn't shake the feeling something wasn't right. The night before the concert, I texted my parents, "I'll be there around 11 tomorrow morning. See you then." Mom replied almost instantly, "Perfect, Aaron. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow." I allowed myself a small smile. My relationship with my family had always been complicated, but I hoped I could enjoy visiting Grandma briefly while establishing my newly established boundaries. The next morning, I woke up early, packed Grandma's medication and favorite snacks, and loaded everything into my car. I'd chosen things I knew she'd appreciate: her favorite tea, some audiobooks, and photos from my recent work projects. Driving to my parents' house, I felt surprisingly peaceful. Just a quick visit, see Grandma, drop off her things, and then back to my freedom. But as I pulled up to the house, something felt wrong. My parents' car was missing. So were Thomas' family cars. The lights were on, but the house seemed oddly quiet. I frowned as I approached the front door with my bags. When I rang the doorbell, I heard slow, shuffling footsteps. The door opened to reveal my grandmother, looking confused. "Aaron," she exclaimed with genuine joy. "You came." Of course, I smiled and hugged her frail form. "Good morning, Grandma. Where's everyone?" "They all left," she answered, her voice suddenly clearer. "They all went to that concert as planned." Actually, 1 month before Bob Dylan's concert, when I entered Grandma's room with her evening medication, she was sitting by the window writing something in a notebook. As soon as I entered, she quickly closed the notebook. "Aaron, would you mind closing the door?" She said that in a surprisingly clear voice, not in her usual confused manner. Though I was confused, I complied. "Sit down," she said while taking my hand. "I have something to tell you." In that moment, her eyes were clear, and her voice was steady. "I don't have dementia." "What?" I froze in shock. "You seem shocked," she smiled. "After my hip surgery, I was indeed confused temporarily. But I recovered. I just didn't tell the family that I had recovered." "But why?" "Your dad and mom and Thomas and Faith, I wanted to see how they would treat me." "And how they would treat you," she explained. "They think I'm having dementia, so they speak their true feelings in front of me." Grandma pulled out a folder from her drawer. "They're planning to go to Bob Dylan's concert, and they intend to dump my care on you." My face was drained of all colors. "Don't worry," she said. "I've known about their plan for a month. They discussed everything in front of me because they think I couldn't understand." "But why have you kept quiet until now?" "I was waiting for the right timing," she said meaningfully. "Erin, they've taken you for granted conveniently for years. But this time is different. This time, it's time to teach them a lesson." She began to explain her meticulous plan. I would pretend to fall for their scheme and come to the house. Then after they left, I would scare them into coming back. And she said with gleaming eyes, "This incident will be your opportunity to break free from their control." Yes, this was my grandmother's plan. And finally, the day came. "Let me help you to the living room first, Grandma." As I guided her to the sofa, I looked around carefully. The house was clean, with her medications neatly arranged on the side table. On the dining table sat the remains of breakfast and a note. While Grandma settled in her favorite chair, I picked up the note. "Dear Erin, we left at around 9 a.m. Grandma has had breakfast. There are 3 days of prepared meals in the fridge. Instructions are attached. Emergency numbers are on the fridge. Make sure she takes her 2 p.m. medication. With love, Mom." "I need to make a call. I'll be right back." I went to the kitchen and dialed Mom. After several rings, she finally answered. "Oh, Erin, you made it. How's your grandma?" "What the hell are you thinking?" I couldn't contain my fury. How could you pull something so underhanded after I explicitly said no? "Erin, please calm down," Mom said in that infuriating, soothing tone. "We knew you'd come through. You're always so dependable." "I'm not your on-call caregiver. I only agreed to a morning visit. I never agreed to watch Grandma for 3 whole days." "But you're there now, aren't you? You can't just leave her alone. She needs you." This is serious abandonment. My voice turned ice cold. "Do you have any idea what happens when I call the Adult Protective Services?" I heard her gasp. "You wouldn't dare." "Try me. If you're not back soon, that's exactly who I'm calling next." "Wait." Mom's panic was palpable. "We're still at the venue entrance. The concert hasn't started." "Then leave and come back. I'm staying for 1 hour. If you're not here by then, I'm calling the authorities." "Erin, please." 1 hour, I repeated and hung up. Meanwhile, Grandma and I put our secret plan into action. "Have you packed everything?" Grandma asked. Her eyes sparkled with anticipation for adventure. "Of course," I answered with a smile. "The Florida beaches are waiting for us." Grandma took out an envelope of official documents from her bag. "I wanted to leave before showing you this," she said, handing me the papers. It was her new will. I read it with an expression of astonishment. Her assets, her beach house, considerable savings, and the investment portfolio inherited from Grandpa were all to be given to me. "Grandma, Words failed me. The right thing, she said firmly. I met with a lawyer months ago and showed evidence that they lied about my cognitive abilities. They forfeited their inheritance rights. My parents had been trying to gain control of Grandma's assets by claiming she had dementia. But Grandma was wiser than them. A doctor's assessment proving her clear cognitive state and recordings of my parents' conversations made her new will legally unshakable. By the time we boarded the plane to Florida, my parents would have discovered the empty house and a note, "Dear Monica and Douglas, I do not have dementia. Aaron and I are going on a lovely extended trip. The legal proceedings regarding my assets have been completed. With love, Mom." Sitting on the sandy beach, Grandma and I shared the joy of freedom. Finally released from family constraints, we began a new chapter in our lives. After returning from Florida, I spent a quiet morning in my apartment, responding to friends' messages while ignoring the flood of texts from my family. After their betrayal, I needed time and space to heal. But that afternoon, my blood boiled as I scrolled through Facebook. Mom had posted, "Such a disappointing holiday." It breaks my heart when someone abandons their own family. My poor mother was so confused and upset. I never realized how easily family bonds could break. The comments poured in. "So sad, Monica. Young people today just don't understand responsibility. Abandoning your own grandma is the worst. Family must come first. Some people just don't get it." My hands shook as I took screenshots. Though she hadn't named me, everyone knew who she meant, and she had completely twisted the truth. Fueled by rage, I crafted my own post, "Time for the Truth." Yesterday, I visited my family as promised. Upon arrival, I discovered everyone had already left for Bob Dylan's concert, expecting me to care for my grandmother with cognitive issues for 3 days. This was after I explicitly refused them. I threatened to report them for elder abandonment, forcing them to come home. Now I'm accused of not caring about family. The reality? They don't respect my time or boundaries. I am not their on-call caregiver whenever they want entertainment. True family is built on mutual respect, not manipulation and convenience. Hitting post might permanently damage my family relationships, but I needed to speak my truth. With a deep breath and trembling hands, I pressed the button. The reactions exploded immediately. Kayla commented first, "So proud of you for standing up for yourself." Then a wave of supportive messages from my friends poured in. That night, my social media account exploded with family backlash. Mom accused me of disgracefully exposing private family matters. Dad told me to act like an adult. Thomas and his wife claimed I was betraying the family. Cousins and distant relatives I barely knew piled on with criticism. Yet simultaneously, my post spread far beyond my network. Strangers began sharing it with comments like, "I've been the family caregiver for years too. Blood relation doesn't entitle them to abuse your boundaries, and you did exactly what you needed to do." My phone buzzed non-stop with notifications until I finally turned it off to sleep. The next morning, Kayla's call woke me. "Aaron, this has completely blown up. Your post is everywhere. Several major blogs have picked up your story." "What?" I rubbed my eyes and grabbed my phone. Notifications flooded my screen. My post had thousands of shares, with countless people sharing similar experiences. Online news sites were featuring my story in articles about elder care ethics and family boundaries. "I never wanted to go viral," I whispered, overwhelmed by the attention. "This wasn't my intention." But your story is touching so many people, Kayla said. What you're describing is something countless others have suffered in silence. That afternoon brought a shocking twist. Mom posted again, "I need to set the record straight." My previous post was written in haste. My husband, my son, and his wife. And I had unfair expectations of our daughter Erin. We disrespected her boundaries and tried to use her as free elder care. Her response was justified. "I sincerely apologize publicly." I stared at my screen in disbelief. Mom never apologized, especially not publicly. The explanation came moments later in a text from Grandma. "I had a serious conversation with your mother. Their behavior was disgraceful. They've agreed to publicly apologize to you. However, this isn't enough. They've been exploiting you for years. I believe we should consider legal options to address this pattern of abuse." Legal options? That seemed extreme. But my perspective quickly shifted. That evening, while ignoring Mom's calls, I opened an email from Dad. What I read made my blood boil. "Erin, we've apologized publicly. But you need to examine your own actions. Threatening elder abuse reports is completely excessive. We just needed a few days of help with your grandmother. Your dramatic overreaction has humiliated our entire family. You are no longer welcome at family gatherings, Dad." My hands shook with rage. Their public apologies were completely hollow. They still blamed me and were even trying to cut me out of the family. I immediately called Grandma. "Grandma, look at this email Dad just sent me." Her voice hardened with anger when I read it to her. "This is outrageous. They haven't learned a thing. Erin, we need to consult with a lawyer immediately. This is clear harassment." Following Grandma's advice, I met with a family law attorney the next day. She listened attentively to my story and explained that the situation was more serious than I had realized. "Ms. Hartfield, this goes well beyond a family disagreement," Attorney Olivia Morrow said gravely. "The behavior of your parents and brother and his wife constitutes psychological harassment. The public defamation on social media could be considered libelous, and the abandonment of your grandmother raises serious elder abuse concerns." Should I really take legal action against my own family? I asked, feeling the weight of the decision. Let's begin with a formal warning letter. We'll inform them that continued harassment will result in legal proceedings. I agreed, and Attorney Morrow sent formal warnings to my parents, brother and his wife. But instead of calming things down, this only poured gasoline on the fire. After receiving the letters, Mom went on the warpath. She posted that I was an ungrateful daughter trying to sue her own family who only wanted help with her sick grandmother. Dad publicly called me emotionally unstable and insisted my claims were wildly exaggerated. Thomas and Faith joined the attack, labeling me an attention seeker and declaring my story pure fiction. Their vicious response left me no choice. I met with my lawyer again and made the painful decision to file a lawsuit for defamation and emotional distress. Ms. Hartfield, I know this isn't easy, Attorney Morrow said gently, but it's necessary to protect both you and your grandmother. The day we filed the lawsuit, my emotions were in complete turmoil. Despite everything, these people were my family. But their actions weren't just a one-time mistake. They represented years of exploitation and disrespect that I could no longer ignore. Grandma Beatrice was my rock throughout the process. She not only supported my decision but offered to testify, revealing how she had been mentally documenting the family's treatment of me for years. I pretended my memory was worse than it is, she confessed. I wanted to see who truly cared about me versus who saw me as a burden. The legal battle dragged on for months, completely shattering whatever remained of our family relationships. My parents, brother and his wife refused all contact, while extended family members were forced to choose sides. Most aligned with my parents in the name of family loyalty, but Grandma and a few others stood firmly with me. The case moved forward faster than expected. My lawyer methodically presented evidence of the years-long pattern, the concert day incident, and the vicious social media campaign that followed. Grandma's testimony proved devastating to my parents' case, as she revealed with crystal clarity how they had systematically taken advantage of me for years. The most damning evidence came from the social media posts and private messages from my parents and brother and his wife. Their own words exposed their malicious intent and harassment more effectively than anything else could have. The judge ruled decisively in my favor, issuing a restraining order against my parents and brother and his wife, awarding substantial damages for defamation and emotional distress, and ordering them to publicly retract their false statements about me with a court-approved apology. The court finds that the actions of Monica Hartfield, Douglas Hartfield, Faith Hartfield, and Thomas Hartfield constituted clear harassment of Aaron Hartfield and caused severe emotional distress, the judge declared firmly. Family relationships must be founded on mutual respect, and the defendants have fundamentally violated this principle. Additionally, their abandonment of Beatrice Hartfield, despite her cognitive challenges they themselves emphasized, demonstrates a disturbing disregard for elder welfare. Leaving the courtroom, my heart felt both lighter and heavier simultaneously. I'd won my case and defended my boundaries, but the cost was losing half my family forever. "You did exactly what was necessary," Grandma whispered, squeezing my hand with surprising strength. "Some wounds may heal with time, but you must never compromise your dignity or self-worth for anyone, even family." In the months following the verdict, their lives were transformed dramatically. The case had been covered extensively in local media, devastating their carefully cultivated community reputations. Dad was forced into early retirement from his accounting firm after 30 years when clients began requesting different representatives. Mom resigned from her executive position at the marketing company when colleagues stopped including her in meetings. Their social circle shrank rapidly as former friends distanced themselves from the scandal. Thomas and Faith's real estate investment business suffered immediate consequences. Potential clients researched them online only to find stories about elder abandonment and harassment. Within 6 months, they were forced to sell their luxury home and downsize dramatically. Meanwhile, Grandma moved in with me. Together, we renovated my small apartment to accommodate her needs while preserving her independence. With her encouragement, I enrolled in creative writing courses, finally pursuing my long-held dream. 1 year later, my life had transformed completely. With Grandma's support, I reduced my copywriting hours to focus on my first novel while taking advanced writing classes. Grandma, thriving in our shared home, had started a small online community for seniors exploring their creative talents. The pain of family betrayal still occasionally surfaces, but I remind myself that my decisions were necessary. I won't make space in my life for people who see me as nothing but a convenient caregiver, I told Kayla during one of our regular coffee dates. It sounds harsh, but protecting myself was essential. Though the wounds will never completely heal, I walk forward with confidence. Grandma and I have created our chosen family based on mutual respect and love. Our story serves as a powerful reminder that exploitation, even from family, should never be tolerated.